Welcome to Deadsville Horror Talk. I'm your host, Ronin James, and to my left, the lovely Steph Infection.
Hey, Scream Hearts.
Tonight, we are going to be talking about the new Dracula movie, The Last Voyage of the Demeter. We went and saw it this afternoon, and as usual, here we are a few hours later after absorbing it, letting it all sink in, and we're ready to give you our thoughts.
Sink into our blood.
Yes. Yes. Sink our teeth into it.
There's
the pun I should have gone with.
I still like mine.
Close enough. But yeah, we went and saw this one this afternoon, and yeah, we have some thoughts. So before we get to those thoughts, though, just remember we are going to keep it spoiler-free for the first little, probably 15 minutes-ish. Yeah. We'll be talking about our basic overall review, and we will keep the spoilers out of it before we dig deeper, and we give you a big alert when we're about to do that. Big spoiler alert, big spoiler warning, so you'll be able to pause, and if you haven't seen the movie, you can go see it, and then maybe come back and listen and see if you agree or disagree with how what we thought of it. Before that, though, a bit about us.
Yeah.
I am Ronin James. I am the director of Deadsville Horror Talk, Deadsville Rock and Roll Mysteries, producer of Deadsville Horror Talk, I should say. Produce a bunch of stuff here at Deadsville Productions. If you listen to our last podcast, then you know I was the stunt coordinator on a little movie called Death House. I've been in stunts for about 20 years and now transitioning to directing and producing and all that good stuff. I'm going to be telling more stories.
Yes.
And with me telling stories, the lovely Steph Infection.
That's me.
She is a former cheerleader, now fear leader. She is a producer. She is a dance choreographer, an actress, a horror host with the most
Soon
for the ghosts.
Handshake choreographer.
Handshake choreographer. She wants us to have a secret handshake. So
it's a secret. She just told them. They have to listen. Stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss that.
I want to miss it.
It's going to happen.
I might miss it.
And you can all do it with us.
Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, we've been doing this for a little while now, doing the entertainment thing, been in the business. Steph with MTV way back, interviewing that dude.
Oh my God.
Nick Cannon, who she managed to not get pregnant by.
Can we?
He gets every girl pregnant. How did you not get pregnant by Nick Cannon? He has so many babies. Are you sure you don't have Nick Cannon's baby?
I mean, I guess it's possible.
Anything's possible.
Shut up.
Nick Cannon, man, he gets around.
Oh. What is he up to? Like 24 kids?
Is he? I don't know.
No, I don't know. It's a lot.
It's a lot of kids.
It's close to 20, I think.
I mean, if you can afford them, Nick Cannon, more power to you. But yes, back to us. Enough of Nick Cannon.
No.
And your trysts.
Listen, he's like my most hated celebrity that I ever met. So this is why it's the ongoing joke. And if we keep bringing it up in the podcast,
she's gonna quit.
I'm going to quit.
Yep.
I'm out of here.
All right, that's why I keep bringing it up.
Oh, he's too full of himself.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Well, if you want to comment on some of this stuff and join in the fun, you can email us.
Yes.
At
DeadsvilleHorrorTalk@gmail.com. Subject, mailbag.
Mailbag. Not your male genitalia bag.
No.
We don't send those.
No.
It's just M-A-I-L bag.
Yes.
Mailbag. Read right there. Yes.
Yeah.
So we don't want any genitalia pictures.
Oh my God.
Or else we will send Ghostface to slice him up.
Oh, are we bringing back what I did?
Oh, yeah. Steph.
You just did that too. And maybe we should slow this down and make a reel out of you.
I don't know. See, when I did the stab, it was up here. When you did the stab, it was like down here. You were like, yeah, stab. It's the stab movie.
Oh, my God.
It's a different kind of stab movie.
Yeah, it would be.
Whatever you do in your private time, Steph Infection, I don't want to know your search history or anything like that, okay? Keep that to yourself. This is a semi-family program. Not really.
No, you
I
say
curse
the
like
F
a
word
snail.
every other word.
Yeah.
Every other word.
All right. Well, if you haven't already from all this wonderful jibber jabber, make sure you subscribe and like and comment and share and all that fun call to action stuff that they tell us that we have to tell you to do here. I said jibber jabber. I feed a fool that gives me the jibber jabber. Do you know who that is? Some of you youngins don't even know who that is. She didn't know who it was.
It's not true.
She didn't know who it was. I said that I pitied a fool, and she was like, "You're really going all in on the wrestler, aren't you?" And I was like, "Wrestler? I pitied a fool is Mr. T. What are you talking about?"
Because you were looking like a wrestler all of a sudden.
All of a sudden, the long hair, all of a sudden, I'm looking like a wrestler. I'm one of the Hardy Boys.
No.
Yeah.
That's what you were trying to be. All of a sudden, back in your bandana. I haven't seen the bandana come out in years. And I'm like, okay.
All right, whatever, man. My hair's long. I got to keep it out of my face sometimes.
All right,
You know,
Hardy
I'm
boy.
doing some work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting in work.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get to it. That's enough of that. Let's get to it. How about you read us our synopsis there, Steph Infection?
All right, I will. Based on a single chapter, The Captain's Log, from Bram Stoker's classic 1897 novel Dracula, the story is set aboard the Russian schooner Demeter, which was chartered to carry private cargo, 24 unmarked wooden crates, from Carpathia to London. The film will detail the strange events that befell the doomed crew as they attempt to survive the ocean voyage, stalked each night by a terrifying presence on board the ship. When it finally arrived near Whitby Harbor, it was derelict. There was no trace of the crew.
Woo!
Yeah.
All right, you made it through.
I kind of did. I stumbled.
I guess we keep going, huh? Yeah.
Yes. I'm not redoing that. That's
We'll
a long one.
Yeah, it's a long paragraph.
Listen, y'all just
we'll
have to
give that
deal
all
with
in
it.
one take. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about our director here. We have, where's his name?
Andre
Overidol. And, yeah, I mean, where was this shot? Was this shot in Britain? Is it a actual Romanian production? I'm looking at Andre's page here. But Andre is known for Troll Hunter, 2010, which was like a cult classic kind of thing. And he also did more recently The Autopsy of Jane Doe in 2016, which was meh. And he also did Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which I actually did really enjoy.
I love that. Well, that was, where's Malta?
Malta. Oh, is that where it filmed?
Yeah, where is
Okay, that is, that's overseas. That's in, oh man, if my geography serves me correct, the Baltic Sea, the Baltic Strait or something like that. You got to Google Malta.
Yeah, go Google. So yeah, I like things that this guy directed.
It is in Europe. Malta, island country located in the central Mediterranean Sea with close historical and cultural connections to both Europe and northern something Europe. I don't know. All right. So yeah, Malta. It's 80 miles south of Sicily. Okay, yeah, Baltic Sea. Fair enough.
Somewhere over there.
Yes. So yeah, but that's why I figured it was a foreign director. The writers, they credit Bram Stoker because they use a lot of, I guess.
Well, they use the outline
log.
pretty much.
They use the actual log, and then they kind of fill in the blanks. It seems like because you actually read the log.
Yes.
And we'll get into that more in our.
I haven't. I will say, but I haven't read the book. But I read chapter 7, which is the entire chapter.
So it's written by I'm gonna butcher these probably. Braji F. Schutt and Zach Okowitz. No idea. We're gonna just move quickly over these.
Yeah.
No idea what these guys have written. Not really concerned. We're gonna jump to the cast.
Mm-hmm.
We got Corey Hawkins as our main character. Clemens. Liam Cunningham, probably the most recognizable actor in this one, along with David, our friend David Dasmalchin from Smile and the Suicide Squad. But we reviewed Smile, so that's when we.
Well, you're forgetting Corey Hawkins was also Dr. J, Straight Outta Compton.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Cool. Liam Cunningham's been in a ton of stuff, though. He's a long-time British actor.
And I didn't realize he was like the dad in Little Princess, which literally was one of my favorite movies when I was a kid.
Nice. Didn't you say he was the captain on?
No, he wasn't a captain. He was. It's funny because I was like, oh, he looks like Captain Smith from the Titanic. No, that was so long ago. It shouldn't have been him, but he looks so familiar to me. But he was in like the documentary, and then he was the narrator in another Titanic thing. So I don't know. He was one of the characters. So.
He definitely has that man of the sea look.
Yeah.
He totally, totally fits the captain going down with the ship type guy. Like, yeah. I mean, the cast wasn't bad. It's a bunch of guys. It's a lot of there's Russian guys and they're playing Russian guys and Slovakian type guys and the one kid. I mean, the captain is British, so he's the captain of this crew, and they're going back to Britain. But it's a Russian ship, I guess, so there's mostly Russian crew on there. And Woody Norman plays the captain's grandson, Toby. And we learn that there is no child in the book, right?
No, did you recognize who that kid is?
No, what's he from?
Cobweb.
Oh, is that the same kid from Cobweb? Wow.
Peter from Cobweb.
And that was also shot over in...
That was like that was not in the same...
It wasn't in Malta, but it was also shot over in...
that was Australia. No, that was...
No, Australia was the other one. That was also shot over in Europe, though. It was also shot over in, like, the Russian sector of Europe, I'm pretty sure, is where we...
Let's see, real quick. It is...
Bulgaria.
Bulgaria.
Sofia, Bulgaria, yep.
Yeah, I now remember us saying that.
Yep, so that explains it. Yeah, he's, I guess he's a European or British actor that they're flying around to do these shoots, but not bad. Kid's in second, and he's good in this, man. He's really good.
Yeah,
he's good. Good character, and he does a good job. All the actors do a pretty good job in this, and they're pretty convincing with what they're given to work with.
It's like 2 horror films in the same year that came out.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, there's
they were here.
Cast. They all do a decent job with what they're given. I mean, you've already heard the reviews compare it to like aliens on a boat.
Yeah.
And that's what we get. We get a little assorted cast of seamen.
Mm-hmm.
Now you love that word. Right. Seamen who are weathered looking, very authentic looking. I will say, very authentic looking cast. Like that's one of the things that we've. One of my pet peeves sometimes. One of the things that kind of took me out of when we watched Prey. Like one of the very first things I noticed was it's supposed to be a very long time ago, but all these gorgeous model-esque Native Americans all had like perfect teeth, perfect skin, and they were just like models, hairless, and I'm just like, wow, they are like the like most like cosmetically perfect human beings for like that time period. And hey, I'm not saying that people back then weren't beautiful.
They didn't have dentists.
But I'm just right. That's what like that was what was messing me up. I was like, man, yeah. So like, some of that stuff was a little throwy. These guys all looked authentic. Like you're looking at this, and these like, these guys are grimy with like old school tattoos, like old school seaman tattoos on them, and like.
And even the Romanian girl, like it was, they all looked their parts.
The casting was very good. Everybody looked great, and they all did a good job acting.
Agreed.
So let's jump to our first take, Steph Infection, keeping it rolling. And we're back. Here we go. Steph Infection goes first.
Oh my gosh, that was so scary.
That's right. Get your blood flowing. The first takes.
First take was, I'm probably gonna. I see that some people like love this. I thought it was just okay. I definitely jumped in my seat a bunch of times, but it was kind of predictable, where I knew exactly something was going to happen, and I felt like I knew, like, to the T what was going to happen at different parts. And not because I read the story. So...
You read it after.
I read it after. So it was, it was good. I definitely, suggest seeing it, especially, and if you read the book and you're like a big book fan, you're probably going to love it, but I just thought it was okay.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I found it to be just okay. I found it to be I was kind of really hyped for this because I was excited that they were doing a non-romanticized version of Dracula because I'm just like that's never been my cup of tea. I've never been we talked about this earlier. Like I've never been like into like the socialite romantic, suave.
Dracula.
Dracula.
Yeah.
It's just not
Blah, blah, blah.
not my thing. I'm more of a werewolf guy. I've seen Dracula's like a socialite, and I'm more of a greaser guy myself. So I've always related to like werewolves or creature or monster or whoever way more than Dracula. Dracula is always kind of like he's like the establishment of the monsters, like because he's kind of like because even in like something like
look, he's at the top of my shirt.
right, and he like controls like all the other monsters. He has them do his bidding, like in different movies.
Yeah, when they're all together.
Like even in like Monster Squad, even as something as recent as Monster Squad, he was still like pulling them all together.
Because it's that I have
He's the
control.
The Lord of Darkness.
So, and it's weird, like, because we were even saying, I said, I love vampires, and I do love that romantic side of it. Like, I'm going to make you mine and kind of deep gaze into your eyes and then have control over you. And it's always like a little sexual and sexy, like when you see vampire movies.
Yeah.
But out of all like the Universal monsters, Dracula was kind of like my least favorite.
Yeah.
Maybe not least favorite. That's probably, but not as up there as you would think.
Yeah, I'd probably put him over like the Invisible Man and I don't know, Phantom of the Opera or something
Definitely.
like that. I'd probably put him over those, but he definitely falls below. Like it's Wolfman and Creature from the Black Lagoon and probably the Bride and Frankenstein and Mummy.
Yeah, mine's like Frankenstein, Bride, Mummy, Dracula.
Yeah.
Because even Wolfman was never one of my favorites.
No, see, Wolfman was always my favorite. I'm a dog person, so I'm an animal person.
But I love the creature. So, I don't know. I mean, I love them all equally, but, if I'm going to, like, buy shirts, I usually go to, like, Frankenstein, Bride, or even, like, the creature.
Yeah. Well, because, and Dracula's, like, super played out, too, as far as, like, there've been so many Dracula movies, and we'll get into that later, because that was our question today.
Yeah.
Like, what was your favorite Dracula movie? And,
but not, like, you didn't say anything, but I looked up just to see if I knew what mine was, just to see a list, and I was like, holy crap, there's so many Dracula movies.
Yeah, it's a lot. So, Dracula's one of those cats. He's like Batman. I'm kind of like Batman'd out when it comes to superheroes. I'm kind of Dracula'd out when it comes to the Universal monsters. Can we get some more Wolfman? Can we get some more Creature from the Black Lagoon? Can we get some... I'll even take some more Mummy. I want to... give me another Mummy movie.
Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy is my all-time favorite Abbott and Costello. Yes. I watched it not that long ago, but it's one of my favorites.
Nice. All right. So, I'm continuing on my first take.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of disappointed because I was excited to see this more creature, raw, take monster version of Dracula. And while it was good, I loved the creature design, and the sets were great, and the acting was really good. It was just very, very predictable. It didn't have me on the edge of my seat at all. It was just kind of like, okay, this is what's going to happen next. I kind of could see everything coming well in the distance. And
it wasn't like a creepy time, like where you're like, maybe something's coming. Like there was times like even see me, I'm like, oh, okay, something's definitely coming, and it's going to come from this direction, and it's probably going to be this. Like you had it in your head, you knew exactly.
And then it played out exactly like it did in your head. And that's the thing. Like today, when we watch something like what did we review a couple weeks ago? That was like they did a really good job of misdirecting you. Cobweb. I mean, Cobweb was a really good misdirection. There was so much good misdirection set up in Cobweb
that at the end,
when everything starts going crazy, you're like, wow, that's fucking why. And you don't really see it coming. You're left kind of wondering. So you do have that suspense build up and everything going on through the entirety of the movie. Whereas this, it was just so by the numbers and just like, it was very disappointing that everything was so just foreseeable, I guess, is the best. Like I could just see everything coming just through the whole thing. It was very well done. I'll give them that. And I will say, it's probably worth a watch. I would I wouldn't say rush to the theater to see it.
No.
But I would say it's worth seeing on the big screen because of the sets are really big. The stuff with the boat, like the ship, the set is awesome. Just putting the whole thing on this old ship.
Yeah, I mean,
it's. I just feel like they could have executed that better too because
I don't think you need to even see it in the theater, but I'm sure people will. Because when I think of like theater, like even the jump scares and stuff, like it wasn't the sound.
Yeah, they didn't use sound the way a lot of modern
movies so I was kind of like, you could wait and watch this on a big screen TV at your house. Like everyone has big TVs, you know. Like it would be just as definitely see it, but you know.
Yeah, I guess that's where I'm at too.
Yeah.
It's the same. You know, it's definitely not a must see in the theater, but especially if you're a fan of Dracula and like she said, you read the book and you know, it is.
I see people loving it, and that's great. You know, but.
Yeah, the effects were great. The makeup, the fucking.
Oh yeah.
There was a decent amount of blood, but I just felt that maybe I was just expecting too much. Maybe I just have higher standards, and I was hoping that we would see something a little different than just this played out in this, you know, same like and we'll get to it even more of even at the beginning when we see what It starts at the end, really, and even then, I knew. Oh yeah,
which is the beginning of the chapter.
This isn't. There's something else.
Yeah. I know.
We'll get there.
It's never.
We'll get there, but yeah. I guess that's my first take on it.
Good, not great.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess and again, I mean, the direction was good. Like there was some like everything looks. Again, I'm looking at the trailers on here and.
Yeah. I mean.
It's shot great. Like the cinematography is wonderful, and it's very atmospheric. There are parts where the creature is kind of lurking in the shadows, and it does kind of play with you a little bit, and it does get a little bit creepy. But again, you're just like,
well, there was like two.
You've kind of seen this stuff before now, and this kind of now with the way they are, with the way things are done, this is kind of old hat. I feel like, but it's still very like well shot. Looks great. Decently done. It's just kind of a bit disappointing that it just follows. It's the writing again. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's this fucking shitty writing. And I can't even blame Hollywood on this one because these dudes, Raji Shutt and Zach Olkowitz. I don't know. I got.
Well, and I understand.
What has Zach Olkowitz ever fucking written? Bullet Train.
Oh wait, Bullet Train.
He wrote Fear Street Part 2, which I really actually liked. I thought that was right. He wrote Lights Out in 2016. He's written 3 things.
Well,
he's written 3
and he may have been among
Bullet Train. He did the screenplay. Fear Street. He did the screenplay.
Yeah.
And Last Voyage of Demeter. He did the screenplay. So that just means he adapted it. So he is probably the Hollywood
just
schmuck
fixing it around.
Yeah, he's the guy that comes in and adds all the Hollywood cliches.
Because we'll get into it, but basically, it's an outline that's in Chapter 7. This is not, giving anything away. So they kind of took that.
Well, this guy, Raji Shutt, he wrote Samaritan, which I loved. He wrote Escape Room, Tournament of Champions. He wrote Escape Room.
I don't think I saw Escape Room.
I didn't watch any of the Escape Rooms either, but...
Maybe I saw one, but... It was fine, but I have issues because there's some parts of it that even though I really enjoyed like a character, I was like, why is this even? There's a couple that are just were not in the book, and they had to create names and characters and some things that happen based off of this outline, but some of it just wasn't needed. So
yeah, let's get to some of that stuff. We'll wrap up our first takes here. We both think it was just okay. Decent enough.
Yeah, definitely see it. Like I
give it a watch,
good,
but you don't have to go to the theater. You can. It's not rush out and see it. Good at all. Definitely, you can wait for it to come this.
They'll say rush out and see Haunted Mansion. Disney's Haunted Mansion. Well over this.
yeah. I say that as well. All right. Well, you know what that means, Steph Infection.
Oh no.
Break out the shovel.
I hid the shovels.
No, I found the shovels. I got more invisible shovels. Ooh, I got all the invisible shovels so we can dig deeper.
Are you falling in the pit?
Alright, I'm out of the hole, Steph Infection, and I'm ready for us to dig deeper.
Oh, God.
Put that shovel down, Steph Infection. I will start this one off. So, at the beginning of this movie, it starts with the Demeter running aground in what port? What's the name of the port? So you know all the details. Whitby, whatever. It doesn't fucking matter, man. It's the whatever it says in the book. It's on the fucking shores of England, and it crashes, and everybody's fucking dead, and the Coast Guard shows up, and they show it, and the guy's there, I don't want to go back in the boat, it's horrible, and he's got the captain's log, and the captain's log is not a turd from the captain's John, it's a book with the captain's, it's a poop joke, man, you didn't even crack a smile, it's a captain's log. You didn't get it?
No.
Oh, man, just went right past her. She's not even listening to me, probably.
No.
Anyway, the captain's log is a book, not a poop that the captain left.
Oh, yeah.
All right, man, try and keep up. So he's got the captain's log, it's a journal, and that's what the pages in the actual book are based on, right? Steph Infection?
Yes.
Yes.
You're talking very fast.
I know, well, I'm getting us caught up.
All right.
We're going to get through this quick. No more 2-hour episodes.
No. So anyway, we have, then we cut to what it says like 4 days before.
4 days earlier, yep. And we're in the port getting ready to leave Romania area. Fucking, yeah. We meet the captain.
It might say 2 months earlier. It might be like 2 weeks or something.
It was earlier. And then we're meeting the crew that's getting on the boat.
Yeah.
And of course, you got all your stereotypes that Hollywood has to throw in nowadays, and they get them all eventually, on the boat, and they got a kid in the mix who Steph Infection found out was not actually in the book.
No.
But you gotta have a kid in the mix.
I guess.
Was there a dog in the book besides the dog that jumped off the...
No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. We didn't talk about that. So the ship runs aground, and in the book...
It says an immense dog jumps over the front bow of the ship and into the...
Ooh, it runs off.
Runs off here. And then later on we know in the Bram Stoker that
that was Dracula.
It actually says in the book, the SPCA is trying to locate it. You can't.
But because it's Dracula. It's Dracula getting off the boat. That was the whole thing. But for some reason they left that out of this.
I understand maybe that, I guess. But...
I don't know. I kind of...
Yeah.
Knowing that was in there, I kind of would have liked to have seen something like fleeing from the boat.
Something. Something, yeah.
But unless something was fleeing from the boat and I completely missed it. We both completely missed it in the ship.
It's very possible. But we kind of like see that at the end that he gets free, but it's not... I think if they would have showed some type of creature in the beginning of the story, then we would have known what the creature looked like too soon. So maybe that's why they kind of kept that out.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
At any rate. All right, so we're meeting the crew and they're loading up the boat, and we see these like Romanian gypsies with a caravan, and they're hauling ass to get to the port, and they get to the port and they're like, oh, I got to take this stuff, and we can't help you put it on. There's like negotiating and going on between the crew and these gypsies, and we can't help you put it on. We got to get out of here before the sun goes down. That's peculiar.
Yeah.
That's odd, dude. Gotta get it before the sun goes down. Okay.
And he even says, like...
And he gives them, like, more money than they paid them to deliver the fucking shit, and he gives them more than it was worth and all this other stuff. They're like, okay. It's a good idea to get on. But before this, they recruited some random sailors, and, of course, our main star, our Corey Hawkins Clemens, our black doctor, who is, like, the first... We find out is the first black doctor to graduate from Yale.
You were jumping right to it, but that's the point. I was like, why did they even have to do that? I don't even understand why, because maybe just show that because it was mostly
I know why
people,
yes, I guess. You know why they had to do it, because it's Hollywood, and this is why I suspect that Mr. Zach Olkowitz was brought in because he does screenplays, so he makes sure that the script is Hollywood enough. So he adds the intelligent black character to fill that demographic. Target demographic. He has his Asian cook to fill that target demographic. He has the kid to fill the heartstring pull demographic. And the rest of them are like dirty Russian pirates, but they got to work some in there.
I know. And then even putting a female, which somewhat of a love interest, it seemed like.
I guess, yeah, it seems like he has a bit of a crush on her.
Yeah, so.
Aisling Franciosi is Anna. I mean, it's all, and I guess it makes sense that she's there.
Yeah, she just wasn't. Yeah, I actually don't know because I didn't read the whole book, but there's no mention in chapter 7 of a female being.
No, that was all added so that they could add that. But then, I mean, not to jump ahead, but there's a whole scene later in the movie, and this is again, and again, look, man, I am an ally. I am on your side. Power to the people. Women's rights.
Oh, this is about me.
Viva la vagine. All that good stuff. But stop the fucking pandering, man. Just stop the pandering. There is this one scene. I'm just going to get a rant out early. Since we're talking about
I have a feeling I know where this is
Hollywood likes to add all this stuff. They just have to add this pandering bullshit now. And it's like you can't just have a story without having to add certain elements that have to tick off all these boxes so that everybody will come and pay to see your movie. So that everybody feels represented in your movie. Like, you know what? Some shit happened where everybody wasn't represented. There was movies that, like, if you're going to base a movie about somebody in like Egypt, then don't put no fucking white people in it. You know what I mean? If you're going like an old timey fucking like there's like period specific and like, you know, like not every movie needs to have everybody's representation in it all the fucking time. I'm sorry, somebody's got to say.
Well, and it kind of made they made sense of it.
They did make sense of it,
but I felt like
it doesn't make the movie any more interesting for me, and I feel like it took away from them doing more scary shit.
Yeah.
Like, I would have rather had more scary shit going on than worry about all this other stuff, explaining why all these different people are on this boat together. When it should have just been a boat of sailors took on this fucking, these mystery boxes, and it's fucking Dracula.
Exactly.
That should have been the movie. That's a good enough movie for me, man.
And if I had to, I don't have to question anything. I don't know why they needed to explain everything. Now,
hold on. Let me get, because I had to get to my rant.
Right,
let me get to my rant. There's a scene, and we're going to give away, this is spoilery, and this takes place a little later. There's a scene where the possessed crewman has smashed his head through the captain's door and is trying to get it unlocked because the boy who he's trying to give and feed to Dracula is locked himself in the captain's chambers. All right, so he smashes it, he's reaching in, and you can clearly see his hand can reach the lock. He's fiddling with the lock. He can clearly see the lock is not that far down from where the hole is in the door. For some reason, he stops and pulls back. Maybe that's because Dracula's in there now, because we find out later that Dracula's already in the room. But at any rate, the doctor and the captain show up, and they're like, "Oh, he's in the room, but we got to get him out, blah, 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 get him out." And they're reaching in, and they can't reach neither one of them, two grown-ass men, can't reach the fucking slide lock, which is clearly right there within arm's reach if you stick your fucking arm in the goddamn door. Neither one of them can do it. And here comes Miss Badass, who she knows how to use rifles and all this stuff, and none of that's, she's from a small village. You know what? I could go with it, but of course, out of the way! Boom! And blast the fucking doorknob off so that they can blast the door so that it blows the fucking lock, and they finally get in, and Dracula's already in there, and he ate the fucking kid.
Yeah. But my rant seems like one of the same scene, but it's different.
But I mean, you know what I'm saying? They couldn't get the arm in and open the fucking door, and they just had to have the woman come and save the day from the two incompetent men again.
And it's actually doing women an injustice. It does not make sense for you to create these scenarios that just to prove, a woman can be badass too. Mm-hmm. When you're making men look dumb.
You don't have to make men look dumb to make women look badass.
I'm like rolling my eyes, even as female. Like, we don't have to do that. Like, it was funny when like the one guy seen, he was like, "Oh, I don't really like guns, but do you want guns?" And she's like, and I was like,
"No, that's cool. Yeah,
cool.
Exactly. That was cool."
She's like, "I know how to," she's like just loading the rifle, and she's like,
"But if you want to make the chick look like a badass, then what they should have done was when the guys show up at the door, he's wrestling with the possessed crewmate. And he can't get to the door, so he's like, "Hey, the boy," and then she could go up and she could save the fucking day. Have her save the day that way, while the dude is fucking getting attacked.
Yeah.
You don't have to make the two idiot fucking men. "I can't reach the lock. I can't reach the lock either. Can you reach the lock? I can't reach the lock." Holy shit, that was fucking ridiculous. Oh my God.
I know. I have a tandem rant from that same scene, which stems in multiple parts of the movie. But, okay, the kid is Captain Elliot's son.
Grandson.
Whatever.
Mm.
Grandson. He keeps going after, but for some reason we need Clemens, the random doctor, to act more like a father figure to this kid. Like, to the point where the captain would be like, "Hey, son, go check the livestock." And he'd go down, and Clemens would run down, "Are you okay?" And then check on him, "Are you all right?" And then, I don't know, he gets lost at some point, and he's screaming his name and running after him, was Toby. And then literally pushes the grandfather out of the way the second he gets down there to be like, "I'll save him."
Yeah. Let me try the door.
But I was like, there were so many times that I was like, why? That's his actual blood. Like, and he clearly loved this child. It was just odd that this stranger,
right, who just got on the boat,
but he saved him.
Well, yeah,
that's how he gets on the ship. Which it is what it. I don't know.
I mean, we want to jump back to that ridiculousness, dude. That's always the. So yeah, originally Clemens gets passed over to be. Clemens is in line. It's like they go to the place where you can pick up sailors. It's like, where you go for Mexicans.
Oh, God, I was like, we can't say that, can we?
You can say that and pull up and you get your Mexicans to go after their day laborers. And, "Hey, jump in, who wants to work?" That's kind of what happened here. They walk up
What is that?
"Hey, you fucking pirates, who wants to work? We got a boat. We got 3 guys." And these guys are like, yeah, I want to work. And Clemens wants to work, but they're like, "That's where we find I'm a doctor." And he's all like,
because they're like, "Oh, you're dressed like a little, like you're uppity, and you're not an actual seaman, and your hands aren't calloused, So they make fun of him.
They pass him over and they pick other guys. But later, of course, when we see the ship being loaded, that's when we see that the one guy with one eye, there's the scurvy-looking motherfucker with the scars and the tattoos and
like,
strong.
But probably have like a gypsy kind of background.
Yeah. So they're loading on the boat, loading the mystery boxes onto the boat, and he sees the dragon insignia, and he's like, "Dragon!" And he starts to drop the fucking thing, and of course the kid
is right underneath of it.
No, he actually runs right underneath it
to pick something
as soon as I don't know what the fuck he's doing, man. If he had a ball or some shit.
Yeah.
Of course, as soon as the dude sees the dragon and loses his grip a little bit, the boy runs underneath the giant box.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that far over, and I'm just like, yeah. I see where this is going. Here he comes to save the day.
Yeah.
Clemens man. Dun, dun, dun. And of course the box falls and Clemens dies and saves the kid and earns his way onto the boat.
Which again, I don't know if they were just doing that to show that there was a lot of fear from one person into the box, but you could have had that without having him get passed over. And then
that whole scene, it was.
Why does he? I mean, being a doctor, he could have just been a damn doctor on the ship. Like they could have just said, "Hey, I need a doctor."
Oh, you're a medic? You were a medic in the military? One of any dude who was like strong could have also been like a medic in the military at any given point, So like, it's not like they're walking down and be like, "Oh, you're a fancy doctor. You can't work rigging on a ship."
I mean, that's what I mean. There was just a lot like.
He got on the ship and worked the rigging okay from what we saw. He was fine.
He was climbing up, and he was fine.
He had no problem. So whatever.
just could have been another guy on the ship, and we wouldn't have had question anything.
Right.
Like,
So, but anyway, he's got to earn his way on, be the underdog, be the outcast. All right.
he's
so be
obviously
it.
a savior.
That's Hollywood's way. So he gets on the ship, and we meet the dog and the kid, and we kind of meet the other sailors, and it's kind of alien-esque with our kind of like our space marines or kind of like the ship in the original Alien with I won't go space marines because they weren't military. We'll go with our original crew of the Nostromo.
Okay.
The aliens ship. Anyway, this was very alien-esque. Cast everything like that. So things get moving. They hit some choppy seas, and something shifts and breaks, and that's when we find, of course, it's Clemens who goes down because he does everything. He's new on the ship, but he does literally everything.
Everything.
So he goes down, and because before something falls and breaks, the first thing we see something open and Dracula gets out, and we see they make a point to show rats sleeping and all, rats running around.
On the ship
while they're sleeping.
Because there's, every ship, even the ships nowadays, has rats. Yeah.
But then so Dracula opens his box, and that's kind of we see the hand and him like kind of awake. And then we see all the rats kind of running, and the animals going a little wild, and then what do we get? He kills them. Does he eat the rats first? I guess.
We assume so, and he does.
Yeah, we don't really see.
No, because then we have the dog, and then all the livestock. That was like the first.
Right, but do we get Mary? Is it Mary or Anna?
Anna, no, that's later.
Okay, so he kills the livestock before Anna.
Anna comes out, yeah. Because it's when I think after like the first person goes missing, that's when like what's his name, Clemens, just wants to go look around and.
But they find Anna before the people start going missing.
Do they?
They hit choppy seas and something falls. Remember when it's when he's looking at the animals. When the kid goes down to look at the animals, to check on the animals, and Clemens goes down with them.
Yeah, all right.
They hit a storm, and something smashes in because they're down next to the cargo hold.
Because they said he was kind of like feeding on her.
Well, that was the plan. Yeah. That was his plan.
So when they took her and started.
Right. So that was what happened so a box crashes. Clemens hears it. Go tell the captain something fell in the cargo hold. The kid goes to tell the captain. They come down. Clemens has already found one of those mystery boxes had shifted, broken, and all this dirt was on the ground. And when he clears like a rag over top of it, there's a person. A woman. It's a woman. Yeah. What is a woman doing on the boat? So
apparently that's bad luck back in the 1800s.
That is a bad luck. That's still, well, I don't know about still.
Probably. Just kidding.
But that was back then, and men were sailors, and it was bad luck to have a woman on board, and they talk about that. That's in there. It's all worked in there and stuff. They want to throw her overboard. She's a stowaway. Blah blah blah. She's sick, and Clemens right away. And I don't Okay,
they were doing blood transfusions, yes.
Yeah, I know they were doing them, but how does he know that's what she needs? Like, how does he know?
So,
like he puts her on too. This girl's got an infection. She needs it. He looks at her on the table for 2 minutes, just like she needs a blood transfusion.
He had one of those instruments, and I forget what they are. But they used to
poke in.
No. It's like a hearing thing, and they would listen to your arteries. And I just saw this at the Muner Museum. It's like a long thing, and you can literally hear if they're like. I mean, it's not like bulletproof, but it's like a stethoscope, kind of like the same. Yeah, everything. He probably just heard her heartbeat low and knew she had figured she had an infection. I don't know. There were certain things that they knew, but it was a little.
It's just a little convenient that he's thinking, blood transfusion. The thing that in our minds is. Oh, yeah, if she's got vampire blood in her and he just transfuses it all out, then she could be cured because that's worked in movies before. So why not? Right?
Well, we find it. We do find out that it didn't work.
Right. But they make you think it worked. Yeah. They go on to make you think it worked through the entire movie until literally the end of the movie when
Yeah.
she just happens to,
Her eyes
oh,
are
it doesn't
wide,
work. We'll get to that.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll get there. Oh yeah.
Which was nothing. I don't get that from.
So yeah, they find this girl and they want to throw her overboard, and Clement's giving her transfusions, and the rest of the sailors think she's bad luck, and is immediately as soon as she's discovered, like that night, all the animals are killed and the dog is found dead. The
No,
dog.
that was before. That's why they were down there. You just said that. The dog and the I thought the dog and the livestock were before. I don't know.
They were down there because the sea shifted. They hit stormy waters and the crate fell. And that's why they found the girl. I just said that.
I know you said that. I don't know if that's how it happened.
That is how it happened. How else would she have been laying in a giant pile of dirt in the
I
middle
knew
of the
that.
cargo?
I thought that was after the animals went.
No.
All right.
No, because if she was still in her place, Dracula could have been feeding on her.
Yeah.
It's because they took her away.
All right. I guess. That's fine. I believe you. Go on. Let's go to the next thing. I just don't remember.
Okay. I mean, it's usually here on Wikipedia in the plot.
It doesn't matter. Either way.
Let's just make sure. 4 weeks transport locals, Romania, fused to help large cargo, valuable crew member, medical skills, astronomy. Yeah, that whole thing with like the education in astronomy at Cambridge and all, like the stars. There was so much stuff talked about with Clemens knowing how to read the stars. I thought that would come into play for some reason later. Like that's important. I mean, I guess it's a good reason to bring somebody on a fucking boat, but
I think
they just harped on it a bit too much. I was like, oh, cool. Something's gonna come into play with it.
I found that it was just him trying to show that he was educated.
Yeah, I guess.
Or that he fit being an educated man.
Yeah.
But still, it's like.
Yeah. Okay. So the following night, the animals. So first night on the agency, Clemens and crewmate they see a mysterious figure in the fog on the deck. Later, one of the crates falls and breaks open in the cargo hold. Clemens investigates and finds a woman buried in dirt inside. Seeing as she's buried alive, he performs blood transfusions on her to fight against a seeming infection. The following night, all of the animals aboard the ship are killed. The crew, fearing a rabies outbreak, throws them all overboard.
Yeah.
And the mysterious stowaway wakes up and warns Clemens about a local monster in her village named Dracula, who she was bound to by her village.
She comes running out when they're throwing the livestock over the ship. Yeah.
And that's when she's like,
he's here.
He's here. And that's when she like tells the story of how like she was the sacrifice of her village, pretty much. Yeah. They're like, here, Dracula, you have this young nubile girl, and just feed off her and leave the rest of us alone. And that was she was like the offering.
Yeah, Dracula, and that everyone I guess made bargains with him.
Yeah. Well, that was the other thing that came later in the movie. They said, why is he going to England? He's ran out of people to eat.
I
was
like,
really?
What?
The whole country? He ate them all? I mean, there was at least 300 people in that port he didn't eat yet. He could have just hung out at the port. Why do you have to go all the way to London?
The only thing I could think I felt like that didn't need to be said. Like it kind of ruined it. Unless it's in the book and I know. But it really wasn't. I don't think anything about the sea besides chapter 7 was in there. So I don't know. But
yeah, that didn't jive with me very well. I was like, what? Yeah, why? Why are we doing this?
The only thing I could think of is like her saying my entire country like has made deals with him.
Yes. Yeah, so he can't eat anybody else. But then he would be getting his tributes monthly or yearly, whatever. He would get, people to train.
I don't know. Maybe they're all vampires. And we just don't know it. Maybe they were. That's why they were like, we have to leave before the sun goes down.
Oh. No. Well, anyway, at any rate, what happens next is just a series of buy the book, kill everybody one at a time.
Which they had to because it's actually that's what's in the...
I know. Dracula's rationing. They finally figure out that that's what it is. Oh, he's killing one a night and feeding off. He's getting stronger, of course. So he's working his way up from the rats, and then he ate the animals, and then he started feeding on the humans, and each night he eats a human, and he rations them out just enough so they can get to London.
Weeks, it said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, he rations them out just enough so he can get to London. And as they're getting closer to London, there's still 3 or 4 of them left, or 4 of them left, right? And then they're like, "Oh, he's gonna kill us all!" Ah! And then they like come up with the plan. So they discover too. Okay, so a couple people get possessed. We're moving a little quick, but yeah, Olgarin gets possessed.
Yes.
And he's the one that tries to sacrifice the kid, and they're like trying to be like, what the fuck is wrong with him? And
I thought the parts with like them like turning and being kind of possessed, but he was still himself, which we kind of see later. Was cool, but him like bashing his head.
That was cool. God. The part where he was bashing his face and like grinding it into the door to get in and look for the kid in the captain's quarters. That was a really good scene. Like there were some spots in here that were really good.
There's another seaman that gets his head bashed into.
Oh yeah, that scene was good too. Because when they show
it progressively getting more smushed, and I'm like,
we just talk about some of the kills here because we don't have to go through it in order, but let's just talk about it because there were a couple good ones. Yeah, the one smashed on the thing, and he pulls it up, and Dracula's doing. He's pulling him up
over and over.
He's like, and you see like the prosthetic head with just like a mushed face.
Yes, but it changed each time.
Yeah, like each time it would push, and he would come back up, and it would be like differently disfigured. And, it was.
That was cool.
It was a good kill. Yeah, and I mean the other stuff, the kid death. Let's talk about the kid death. I give him credit for killing the kid.
Yeah, I kind of was like, shit.
Yeah, I absolutely thought they were going to rescue the kid. I thought they were going to get there in time. I was just like, they're going to rescue the time. So yeah. I mean, and that was kind of creepy, but I mean, again, it was like.
I feel like
you could totally see him. Like I was like when you do that, like when the kid's under the table hiding and they're fighting to get in and all that stuff, and the kid looks over and he notices like. In the corner, like a crouched over little Dracula in the,
and then he starts
to move, and he's like, oh, he looks up and he's like, rah, and then next thing you know, he's gone, and he's up on the ceiling, and it was okay, but it was nothing that we hadn't seen done a million times before. That's the problem. It was very standard fare, is what comes to mind. It was very standard fare for one of these kind of like. Creature vampire movies, Ooh, the vampire's there. Ooh, he's not there. He's on the ceiling. Ooh, he's behind you now.
I will say the only thing that I felt like wasn't predictable is I felt like they were going to actually get into that room right before he bites into him. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh shit, they killed him.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
surprised when he bites into him and he's just feeding away. I was like, damn. All right, they're killing the kid.
But then I was like, okay, he's still alive, and they're giving him a blood transfusion.
Yeah. I was like, okay, we're just going to blood transfuse everybody.
He turns later and dies.
And that was a pretty brutal scene when he turns and his, catches on fire. That's when they kind of learn. I know they learned it on Olgarin first.
Yeah, because he catches on fire. And they're like, what the hell was that? And one thing they did really follow good that's in, like, the book is the first mate who's Wojciech. Is that Wojciech.
No, it's not pronounced. He was like Voyage or something.
Wojciech, yeah. His character is very like just not believing anything, miserable, grumpy, and that's.
Well, he's all business. He's like.
But that's. He's like. He's the
first mate.
In the captain's log, it says my first mate. My mate's not not happy. Not like it's said kind of throughout the thing. So I making that character that kind of says no, we're not docking, we're not leaving. Those little like you're pulling from that outline and creating that, it made sense. But I also feel like they made that little kid in it just to make the captain so depressed at the end that he wants to bring the ship down, which if you are familiar with most captains back in the 1800s and early 1900s, they go down with the ship because it is true. That means that they were a true captain. And it's literally said in like the last line. He says it to somebody, tell everyone it was true. And it's written in the last line of chapter 7. So I felt like we didn't even need that. We needed just like, it was making somebody depressed to do something like, what do I have to live for? Like, I think he says something similar, like, what do I have to go to? When they're like, get off the ship. What do I have to go to?
Yeah.
But we didn't need that. We just needed like, I don't know,
he's
a courageous captain.
Yeah.
That wrote in the captain's log at the end, like he wrote out that he was tying himself.
I'm going to take this devil
to
to the
sea.
bottom of the sea with
Yeah.
and make sure he's stays there
I
or
know.
some shit. You know, like
That's
what a heroic captain does. He's not like.
I felt like that's why they had the kid there, and that's because.
Yeah, they had the kid there, and they gotta have their trauma
Like,
in there. They gotta have their relatable trauma, so somebody that lost a kid out there could relate.
I got a little teary-eyed when he was like, he moved, you know, like when they were gonna throw him overboard, and they all just thought he was just being, you know, depressing. Nope, that was a little vampire trauma.
He was moving.
Yeah, and I did like that. They showed how he would have been burned too by hugging him, like in certain spots.
Those effects were really good.
That was really good too.
And even the after effects, where his hands were still charred,
Yeah.
his head was charred, stuff. That was that was very good makeup effects.
That was good. Yeah,
that kind of stuff. Very good job there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff was good. It was just like the questionable story.
Yeah, and again,
beats here with
we said it was just like creating characters to just hit certain spots that Hollywood
wants to.
Yeah,
thinks make some money. If it'll make them some money, they don't do this stuff because they actually care about people and diversity and giving people representation. I hope most of you understand that out there. Hollywood doesn't give a shit about representation. The only reason they really care about it is it gives them money right now. It makes them money. It's the in thing right now. We're all for diversity. We're all for representation.
Absolutely. Representation of every culture is important. But
we also want good stories. And you can tell good stories without pandering and putting in generic, stereotypical characters and like out-of-place characters.
Cashing in on representation.
Right, exactly. It makes it insincere.
Yeah.
That's why it's called pandering, because you don't actually care about this cause. You're doing it because it makes you look good and you can make money from it. That's what
and I'm telling
all
you right
these
now,
companies do.
There are some shows that I watch that are literally every color, culture, and their period pieces. You can do it without talking about it.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it can be done, but a lot of times the problem is that the story tends to suffer from it. That's when it becomes problematic. Diversity, inclusion, we're all for it. But if you've got to spend 20 minutes, half an hour of your 90-minute movie to explain why this character exists in this period or this timeline or is in this situation, maybe that's not the right character for the situation. Maybe put a different character in the situation. Like, again, it doesn't even make a difference about Clemens' skin color. That was all coincidental.
They had to talk about it.
Oh yeah, they had to make it a thing that he was black, but it was more about him being the doctor and out of place and all that. Like, it wasn't just like it was one thing that he was a black guy, so he was already out of place, but then they gave him a double whammy. He's like totally not a seaman. Like, they could have made him a black seaman.
I know.
And just said, this guy's a good, strong seaman. He's been out to sea. But now they made him black, and they double whammied him by making him a doctor and like a socialite type with like smooth hands and shit, who really had no place on this fucking boat. So they had to spend all that time with all this backstory about his Yale education and being a doctor and Cambridge, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, God, I know.
Different country.
All right, whatever. Yeah. Whatever. You know what I mean. It's fucking...
I'm just teasing.
All right, his Cambridge education and how it is. And look, I get it because in their little narrative, they made it work and everything because he went to Romania because they finally accepted him being a doctor. But then when they saw his skin color, he had to go back to England. And that's why he was on this boat in the first place. Look, man...
Yeah,
you worked it in, but it was a lot of a lot of hoops to jump through to get there that were unnecessary and took away from
he's a seaman,
right? Then took away from just having one of the crewmen like one of the crewmen on the Nostromo was a black dude. He was the black dude on the Nostromo. There was more than one. They never explained why there was a black dude on the Nostromo, or he was like, why he was out. Like, it was.
He could have just said, "Hey, I don't know, whatever. I'm trying to get back home. I've been working.
Ride. I'm pretty strong. I know how to read the stars."
And even the blood transfusions, like maybe it'll come up later because I feel like there's going to be.
I guess that they needed a doctor to give blood transfusions, and that whole.
But that wasn't really needed either.
No, it wasn't.
They could have just been sick, laying in bed.
Yeah.
And they didn't know what was wrong. I don't know. I thought it was.
There was a lot of unnecessary hoop jumping going on.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
To create
I think they wanted the girl
drama.
to make it to the end, and
of course.
they thought that it was obvious that if she was getting, if she was infected, that she wouldn't make it to the end. So I guess they needed a reason
to keep her going.
To keep her going in human form. That's the only thing that I can really think of. But she could have not been bitten. She could have been like somebody that he was saving to feed on, or something like, I don't know, just
anything. They could have come up with something better. It could have been something better in there. All right. Well, anyway, let's jump to our ending, our third act. So in the third act, the remaining crew members decide to they're going to drown Dracula. They're going to destroy the ship, and they're going to drown because they have no idea how to fucking kill this thing. Even though they couldn't shoot it, they try and trap him. Well, they try and shoot him at one point, and he flies around, and this is when they learn that he has wings.
Yeah, well, a couple of them haven't seen him fly until the very end when they're actually doing this. Yeah. But this was my thing. Okay, I know by the book and everything, this ship has to make it to port. What I didn't understand was it's in broad daylight. They can see the port. Now, it's a day away, but they can visualize it, where they talk about going just a little bit further, waiting till dusk, then getting their guns out to wait for Dracula to come out.
To lure him out.
Lure him out and then sink the ship. But it's nighttime and he has wings, and you're a day away. Why?
Well, they battened down those hatches for the cargo hold. But we had already seen, But
why didn't they sink? I mean, obviously, we needed them to get to port and crash the boat. But just watching this movie, I was like, why don't you sink the ship right this second when it's still daytime and he's in his coffin and get on the boat? Yeah. Because that's your best bet, to sink the ship
while he's in his coffin.
While he's in his coffin.
Or, they know that he doesn't come out during the day. He only comes out at night.
So
get the fuck off the boat during the day and sink the boat during the day. And Dracula's trapped on the boat.
It's literally daytime when they're discussing this. Now,
and the Dracula, maybe. He probably still could fucking get out.
They shouldn't have had any. I don't know.
But instead, they came up with the crazy plan. They needed bait and perches and guns and all this fucking
what's
shit.
Going to happen?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
And they battened down the hatches to try and lock him in, even though he had already broken a hole through the fucking hatches once already. So what did you think nailing down? They nailed down. Remember the wooden grates? They show that little montage of them nailing down the grates. Yes. I'm like,
it's all.
You just replaced the grate that he literally smashed through. So do you think the grate's going to hold this time? It's the same fucking wooden grate.
I know. Now, and also, I took notice for this. In the movie, they say, we're a day away. But in the beginning of the book, it says 2 days. For 2 days, they could see, the Coast Guard could see the ship doing different things. It's a long and couple paragraphs to even get to the point where the ship, because they're seeing the guards. They're in the actual book, they're seeing the ship doing weird things and coming in hot. I don't know.
Coming in hot.
But that would have made more sense even in the movie, because they made a point to say, "Oh, we're only a day away. We can see it." Instead, they could have been like, "Shit, we're 2 days away. We can't get into the lifeboat because we actually wouldn't make it in time." It would be that would have been more of a reason to maybe wait and get them and see if you could capture them or stay alive for that night. I don't know. Anything except, let's sink this ship. Wait 2 hours and then we're going to sink the ship. How much further are you really going to get?
When he comes out. And you have no idea where he is at night. At least you know he's somewhere underneath the fucking hull. In the cargo hold somewhere.
You would have had a better shot to get into that lifeboat and just hope that you went. That you just. I don't know. What's his name makes it at the end on a litter. I don't know, one of the.
Well, yeah. Luckily, they had 2 pieces of wood there that they could both float on. It wasn't a Titanic situation.
Rose and Jack.
Rose and Jack had to share one, and it just doesn't. This wasn't big enough for you, Jack. Sorry.
That big ass door.
Nope. But before that, so they have the whole Dracula's flying around. He's picking them off one by one, and
The fog kind of like.
the fog
he
was a
makes
nice
the
little
fog.
touch. The
Yeah.
fog comes rolling in. They can't see anything. Their plane goes to shit,
Mhm.
and he's flying around picking them off from the the up in the rigging and the sail on the sails and stuff.
Crow's nest.
Crow's nest, yeah. And what did we have? Oh, so well, what's his name gets bit? Voyage, right? He gets bit, but he still gets the axe and goes down to.
He goes down.
Like,
no, he falls. No, well, he doesn't.
Oh no, he doesn't get
gets
bit.
like hit and
he gets
falls
hit
all
and
the
he falls
way down.
right through the cargo
Yeah,
hold,
and he's got a broken leg.
Broken leg, and he still
Compound
manages
fracture.
to get the axe and start to put the hole in the hull inside.
Doesn't do
which,
anything.
Yeah, it doesn't. Well, Dracula shows up and stops.
Yeah,
It starts. It springs a little leak, but it's not.
Yeah.
Dracula shows up and.
But it showed that they were trying, I guess, to. But this is the thing. He's flying around now. Even if you got that, even if you got that to work, you just saw that this creature can fly.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you still trying to sink the ship?
Yeah, and drown him. He's out now. You're better off like. And he's not trapped. You're not trapping him anywhere. Like,
I didn't know what they were planning.
Yeah, it just didn't make any sense. It made no sense at the end.
It could have just been written so much better, like to get to the ending that we need from the book. You know.
I mean, it was like Scooby Doo-esque. Like literally, you'll be the bait, Daphne. And
yes,
we'll set this up.
Oh my God!
Then
yes.
Shaggy and Scooby will fuck it all up.
Yes.
And everything will go to shit, but somehow we'll still capture him.
Yeah.
Except it won't happen in this. He'll kill everybody.
And
then just fly off to London anyway.
Yes.
Because that's all he does anyway. They do all this shit. And,
he doesn't do that.
No, you're right. Right. No. Yeah.
And this was kind of comical too. Like he's got Clemens,
God.
and she runs up and she's cutting.
Well, she shoots him in the back, first of all.
Yeah,
she shoots him in the back. While all these other guys couldn't hit him, she, of course, runs up and saves Clemens' life. Boom. Because he's ready to he slices Clemens, is about to,
and that
cuts him with his thing and is like toying with his food. And I'm like,
that's what they don't toy. They don't toy.
And of course, he's going to play with him just long enough so she can save the day. And
they don't do that.
Yeah. She shoots him and he drops Clemens, of course. And then he hears something, decides to drop Clemens, and turns around like this and goes, ah! She's cutting the thing. She starts cutting and somehow she knows exactly which rope to cut
to make
the exact what are they fucking called?
The pillars of some sort.
Or fucking sail.
Yeah.
Fucking pole swing down and fucking crush his chest and hold him. Like she knew exactly which. There's so many ropes and pulleys and rigging lines.
But she cuts
one. She knows exactly which one it is to make that pole swing down and trap him. So it swings down and traps him. We say, they're stuck in and then they.
I'm hating this movie more and more as we talk about it.
I know. I didn't hate it this much until now. When we're sitting there and we're thinking about it, I'm like, wow, this was really stupid.
It was really stupid, actually. And I feel like some people are going to be mad at us. But usually it's like you say...
Yeah, we're both like, it was okay. It's kind of predictable.
And now I'm thinking...
And now we're here like, wow, this was awful.
Because I was thinking of all this. I'm like, let's not talk about it because, too much. We usually try not to do that. But I'm like,
we try not to talk about our thoughts until we get here, so you guys can hear our first.
And I'm realizing that,
so many problems with this script.
And I enjoyed. I did have fun kind of watching it at times. I heard you yawning a couple of times.
Oh yeah. There were a couple of times.
I think I did.
Should I shut my eyes for a minute? Oh no, you won't make it through if you do.
I mean, it was, I even felt that way. And usually you hate stuff and I'm like, I try to give things a better shot.
I really wanted to like this. I really, really wanted to like this.
It was fun. If there is another one, I'm going to see it.
And that's of course they set that up. But all right, so let's just get through our little ending here. So, so Elliot and Voyage are killed. Anna manages to crush Dracula, part of the Mast. That's what it's called, the Mast.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I knew that word.
Anna reveals that she is turning into a vampire as a result of her infection, with Clement's blood transfusions only delaying the transformation. Not wanting to become a monster like Dracula, Anna willingly immolates in the sunlight as they drift ashore.
Yeah.
And making it to London, Clemens, now in a pub, sees Dracula disguised as a human and vows to hunt him down. And that's our tip of the cap to the sequel.
Yeah, and like I said, I'll definitely see it.
Dr. Clemens, Vampire Hunter.
Dun, dun, dun. Is that what you're waiting for?
Yes.
Yeah. Awkward pause.
Yes. Yes, that would be it. Dr. Clemens, Vampire Hunter.
I will say, like, just when we were, oh my gosh, beating me up here. Like this Dracula, they did like a more Nosferatu kind of bat look, which skinny, tall. I like the teeth, and I like that you can see the bat wings.
Yeah, I thought
an actual bat, because if somebody was actually, if Dracula existed, like, I feel like it would be more of an actual monster kind of demon like thing than like just this man that could.
Yeah. Well, and also like the classic idea that he's got to feed in order to get to, like we talked about with
human form
with Renfield. He's going to reach full power. To get to full, reach his full power, because as we talked about, like in the book, Dracula. Like you said, the massive dog jumps off the boat and runs away. That's Dracula. He can turn into a bat, a wolf, mist, fucking particle dust in moonbeams, and fucking teleport and shit.
Yeah.
Like, he's got all these crazy powers in the book. But for some reason, they didn't put that in here, and he just flies away.
Well, his cane, the head of his cane is a
yeah. They show his cane, and that's what we see. But he flies. He flies off and just goes to London now that the boat was close enough.
You can see why that maybe they didn't put that in the beginning, only because you're seeing a monster. They could have done something, like they wanted to kind of build up to when the monster was. So I'm not like hating on not putting that in there, but.
I don't know. I just felt like that, even that opening, for me, like, I like a good opening grabber.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, an opening grabber for me would have been good to have something like that. Like a jump scare with a fucking giant fucking wolf jumping out as somebody's, like, prying open a fucking cabin door or something. Or they,
No, you're right. I totally actually agree with you.
Like, that would have been a good fucking, that made me jump and got me ready for this movie. Instead, it was a really boring opening. It was like, oh, yes, this boat ran ashore, and let's talk to this guy over here. And he says, it's really scary in there. I don't want to go back.
But I don't know why it's not scary. No,
right, exactly.
all that they could find was the captain tied to the thing. Now,
did we even see that in the movie? He wasn't even tied to the thing in the movie.
Yeah, he was.
Because at the end, he cuts him off. He cuts him down.
No, he was still.
Was he still on it? I'm not going to.
Maybe. I know. I thought he was.
I remember he cut him down off the wheel. Clemens did.
Oh, but I think maybe one was still, because I don't.
He was dead on the ground, I thought.
So in the actual book, it says
he's still tied to the
He's still tied to the point that they could tell that it says the captain has been dead for 2 days. That's how they could tell when it was, like, for the autopsy later. It says in chapter 7, the captain was dead for 2 days, and he was on it so long that where he tied himself, it actually went down to, like, the bone, like it removed.
Yeah,
so
from, like, rubbing.
That's another reason why I was like, why did they say we're a day away?
My question is with the captain. So in the book, he ties himself to the thing. I got the impression in the movie that Dracula tied him to the wheel. I didn't get impressed because Dracula kills him.
No, he does. He goes up because he does. He ties himself to the wheel to kind of, he's trying to, like, steer it. He does. He puts it, they show. Now,
No, he ties himself like this, like he's driving it.
Yes.
When we see him later, he's, like, crucified with his, like, that's what I mean. Like he couldn't tie himself to the wheel like this.
No.
He could do this and tie himself. But when he's tied to the wheel in the movie, he's tied to, like, the front of the wheel.
Yeah,
and he's up like this, like he's crucified on the wheel. And that's when Clemens comes up and cuts him down. That's what I'm talking about. Like he's crucified. Like Dracula crucified him.
Or something.
Was like taunting people, but there's only 2 people left. Why is he taunting people? Like he hasn't really done this. He's hitting bodies and like.
He did bite his neck though, didn't he?
Yeah. He was turned. He was fucking.
And they don't like. Well, in the book it says the captain had his hands wrapped, and then he had the rosary beads around his wrist with the rope, and it says. He was slumped down, and he must have been that he was dead for 2 days, and it went down to his bone. But he looked like he was in a seated position, and felt slumped down. Like it says something along those lines. So we're thinking that he literally had himself roped this way, sitting on something possibly.
Well, he's looking at where he's going. He's driving the ship. He's steering the ship.
Not the way it was.
Not the way they had him like crucified on the wheel on the opposite side of the wheel where he would be to actually steer the ship.
Yeah, that's why the ending was a little weird because from their plan down to.
Yeah, it is all, but it's stereotypical Hollywood. Doesn't make any fucking sense. Why would but it's been done so many times. It's the standard stock ending for some of this. We're gonna trap them. We're gonna lure them out. Oh no, something went wrong with the trap. They've been doing it since Scooby-Doo in the fucking 60s. And every fucking, not every, but there's so many movies that do it nowadays. It's, it was just disappointing to see it done yet again here in a movie that I was really looking forward to, making me give more of a shit about Dracula, but alas.
Yeah, I know.
The creature was cool.
Yeah,
the movie was meh.
The special effects, everything like that. Like, it was it was fun.
Yeah. I'm going to read this real quick. A little development story. While working at a model shop in Hollywood, Bradgie Shute Jr. befriended a colleague who worked on Bram Stoker's Dracula in 1992. Shute Jr. took interest in a miniature of the Demeter used for the film and began writing an alien-inspired film set aboard the ship. Based on the chapter The Captain's Log from Bram Stoker's novel Dracula, Shute researched the time period to ensure authenticity. In 2003, Phoenix Pictures acquired the film and tapped Robert Schwenke to direct and rewrite the script with Mitch Bryan. Progression on the film would stagger until December 2006, when James Hart, screenwriter of Bram Stoker's Dracula, turned in a new draft of the script. By May 2009, Schwenke moved on, and Marcus Nispel would step in as a replacement. Production was slated to begin that year. However, due to complications adapting the period setting and filming on the water, Nispel too would depart. By March 2010, the studio moved on to Stefan Ruzowitzki to direct, while Mike Medavoy, Andrew Messer, and Bradley Fisher were slated to produce. After generating Oscar buzz, Fisher sought out a meeting with Noomi Rapace in August 2010 to discuss the film. He performed his own revisions to the script and officially cast Rapace and Ben Kingsley in October of that year. He would exit the film in favor of taking on Deadfall in 2012. This thing has been through fucking hell. We're going to jump through a whole nother time period of people leaving the movie and going back and forth and taking and turning down roles. And in October 2019, it was announced that Andre Overdahl would direct the film, with Amblin Partners obtaining the rights. January 2021, Corey Hawkins joined the cast of the film, the new draft written by Zach Olkowitz. So that's when the Hollywood guys came in and touched it up and probably added all the kid and the black doctor and the girl and stuff that wasn't really part of the book and story to begin with.
Yeah.
And December 2022, Shute and Olkowitz received screenplay credit. Shute received screen story credit. 2019. Yep. All right, so that was.
That sounds like a long history
that's hell
for this.
A lot to go through to get this mediocre ass movie.
I know.
Jesus.
I know.
All right, well, that's the end of that. Let's jump to some comments from.
Yeah, let's see. You pull up yours thing. In the meantime, I just want to say, totally not even planned. I decided to buy this purse last weekend. And it is an actual, it looks like the book of the, and it says on the side, Dracula, Bram Stoker, and there's a quote on the back. So
Very cool.
I know, I thought it was cool, and I wasn't even thinking that this movie came out. I was just at a shop on the boardwalk, and I saw it, and I needed to have it, and it was probably too much money, but I like it.
Well, I have this cool Universal Monsters glass that I brought
Mhm.
out. It's got Dracula up there on the top. I don't really have any Dracula merch because, like I said, he's not really my guy. I got this cool little thing though that I had keep on my desk. Little Dracula in his coffin. I'm still a spooky dude. I have something Dracula around, right?
Yeah, of course.
So, all right. Yeah. Let's talk about some comments we had today before we went to the movies. We each made a post and asked what your favorite Dracula movie was.
Yeah.
And we got some good responses. Would you like to start? I should probably start. I have a bunch.
Yeah, you have more.
Let me start with our friend Jesse Zito. He said, I'm seeing it tonight. For favorite Dracula movie, that's tough, but I'm going to say Horror of Dracula because I love Christopher Lee. Hard to pick one, and a bit of nostalgic love for Richard Roxburgh's Dracula in Van Helsing.
Yeah, he left me the same comment.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Christopher Lee classic Dracula, Hammer horror. Yeah, he's one of the goats, obviously.
Yeah, I still think if I gotta choose,
It's not my favorite Dracula. We'll get to that.
Well, no, we will.
We'll get to ours after we go through.
But let's say out of Bela Lugosi and Christopher Lee, even though I love Christopher Lee, I gotta go Bela Lugosi.
I mean, out of those two, I'd probably go Bella as well.
It's just like it's the OG, man. You know.
Yep.
It's the OG.
All right.
So again, Anthony Porter, the Bela Lugosi Dracula is my favorite. I enjoyed the new Demeter movie. Saw it last night. So Anthony Porter listens to us every week. And same thing. I think I'll just say that that's my favorite Dracula movie, and I feel like I just have to.
Yeah.
Not my favorite vampire movie.
No, we didn't ask vampire movie. We asked specifically Dracula.
Yeah.
So, all right, our friend John Mahoney from England.
He lives near Whitby, actually.
Does he?
Yes.
Very cool.
And before you read his comment, he was saying that they are not showing it over there. There's some, I don't know, issues with them actually showing it overseas. So he's very disappointed because he lives right near Whitby.
Wow.
So I think Canada is, but not.
That's wild.
Not
well,
UK.
hopefully he'll get it streaming there at some point, and you can watch it on like Netflix or something.
Yeah, I didn't get it. I saw one of his comments him talking, I think, on Jesse's post and something along those lines. So it's not there right now.
All right. Well, John says, I love Bella, but as I'm English, we'll always have a soft spot for Christopher Lee's Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
And totally get it. They're the top two, obviously. Yeah. They're the top two.
Yeah. Saren Cadaver said, we saw the last voyage of the Demeter last night. We loved it.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty positive reviews. I haven't seen a lot of negative reviews, to be honest. I try not to see too many reviews before I actually see it myself because I don't want to be influenced by other people's opinions just yet. I want to get mine out there. That's why I kind of like doing this right after the movie. That way I'm not tempted to. I'm tempted to just have my thoughts and spit them out there before I'm
seeing more good reviews than what I feel like we feel.
Yeah,
honestly, like some people are like, if you love the book, you're gonna love this, and I'm like, I read the chapter that it was based off of.
We might be a little harder than some people, though. That's all.
But that's, story.
Yeah. All right. So Gray Eve says, "Ooh, that's hard. I'm bad at favorites. I don't have a favorite color either. Too much to love to pick just one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give a top three. Todd Browning's masterpiece, The Horror of With the Incomparable Sir Lee, and Herzog's Nosferatu. Good choices.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
See. G. Patrick Polly said, Near Dark, completely unglamorous white trash vampires, but a sappy ending. Add the hunger for a fun film fest.
Near Dark is an awesome vampire movie, but not a Dracula.
Not a Dracula.
But an awesome vampire movie. I'm going to skip this one for a minute and come back to it because that one's also might be somebody else's favorite.
Maybe.
Yeah. Count Chocula says, too hard to answer. Honestly, it'd be easier to list top films based on errand topic, like My Best Friend is a Vampire for teen comedy, Dracula for best drama, etc. I get it. It's a lot, but we gotta ask some kind of question here and get you guys talking.
Yeah. Alexa said, Daddy Bella Lugosi, or F off. I agree. I agree.
Yeah. All right. So we got Tyler Brown posted his Gary Oldman in GIF form for our
Yeah.
Bram Stoker's Dracula, which definitely would be a good choice. And Marcus Crawford followed it up with Bram MF and Stoker. So back to back votes on mine here for Bram Stoker's Dracula, which was a good one. I enjoyed that one as well. I
Yeah,
definitely
it was
enjoyed that,
good.
but not my favorite.
No, it's
My
not. We
favorite
haven't.
is- yeah, we haven't got that yet. We
All
skipped
right.
it so far.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dustin Coffin said Dracula 2000 changed the game when it came out. Still a hidden vampire gem. I I kind of forget that, but I think I liked it.
I definitely liked it, and it was kind of like cheesy.
Was it real
from what I remember.
sexual?
No,
No?
if it's the one I'm thinking of, is it? No, there's.
I gotta look it up because
I think it has Jason Scott Lee, who played Bruce Lee in one of the original Bruce Lee movies. Jason Scott Lee plays like a priest in it, I think, if it's the one I'm thinking of.
no, it's Gerard Butler.
Oh, more
Ge-
Epps.
No, this
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Oh, with this scene. Yes. What's his name? I mean, Gerard Butler is Count Dracula.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Okay, it's not the one.
No, for Gold Talk, we did a whole sexiest Draculas, and this was on there. I know I saw it, but I cannot remember actually what happens. So I'm sure it was actually good, that cast.
Oh, well, maybe I'll have to revisit. We'll
Yeah.
have to revisit that one. All right, Matthew Ferrer says Bela Lugosi and Dracula. I hope you guys enjoy. My buddy just saw it. Talking about the Demeter.
Yeah.
Yeah, another vote for Lugosi.
Yeah. Peter Adams said, so looking forward to seeing this. They never went into detail of this part of the book. Yeah, well, they go into a little bit too much detail in this movie. So let's just say that. And lastly,
so Cohen Shiver is commented my personal favorite Dracula movie, being a horror comedy fan and a huge Leslie Nielsen fan. Dracula Dead and Loving It is my favorite Dracula movie of all time. No disrespect to Sir Christopher Lee or the Master Bela Lugosi or Gary Oldman or anybody else that has played Dracula. I know it's a serious character and he's uptight, but I'm sorry. Dracula Dead and Loving It was fucking hysterical. I mean, it's definitely my favorite Dracula movie. If not for Leslie as Dracula, for or Renfield in that movie. The guy that plays Renfield is just took it to the next level. Like that was like
it's a Mel Brooks movie. I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly. So it was just a hilarious movie. Just a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
I could watch it anytime it's on. If it pops up on TV or somewhere, I can watch it anytime.
Mm-hmm.
Pick it up at any point and watch. It's one of those watch anytime movies for me. So even though it's not scary, it's a comedy. It's definitely not a horror, but yeah, that's my favorite Dracula movie.
Yeah, and that's a great one.
All right, how about you?
I said it already. I'm just gonna go with Bella. Yeah, because it's the original, and I said it weirdly has like a weird place in my heart, like for the summer, because it was always on like the old time movies or like movie stations, and you would only like down the shore. I would only get like a few stations at my Aunt Barbara's house. We would like stay there, so I would always watch it. Yeah. Watch it, and for some reason they would always play Dracula. I just remember that like in July, like it was just I don't know. Yeah, so that's probably mine.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everybody for your comments today.
Mm-hmm.
Joining us in the talk, sort of.
Yeah.
Give us a little bit to chat about here at the end.
Some of them might be yelling at us.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah, I know some of y'all like this one a lot. Might not agree, but hey, not everybody loves coleslaw either.
That's me. That's me. I don't like coleslaw. That is.
All right, let's give our final thoughts, Steph Infection, before we get out of here.
All right. Final thoughts is worth seeing, not necessarily in the movies. If you go to the movies, it's fine. Like I don't think you need to. Story was overly written in spots, and I don't know, not great. Effects were great. Some kills were great. It was okay. Not great.
Yeah.
I started out with saying good, not great. I'm like, it was fine. It was fine. It was just fine. I say that a lot, but
yeah, and I'm gonna say the same. Pretty much, I'm gonna be a little harder on it probably.
3 out of 5. I feel like
I wouldn't even give it. I'd probably maybe a 2.5 out of 5. I'd say. It also had an hour and 58 minutes, a 2-hour runtime. Yeah, man, it's a long movie. It's very cookie cutter. It's very by the numbers. There was some good stuff to like. There was a lot of potential. The creature looked awesome. The sets were awesome. The direction was solid. I just feel like once again the writing falls flat and just winds up. I knew everything that was coming. I knew every single thing that was happening. I thought maybe they wouldn't kill the kid.
yeah, I didn't see that.
That was probably the only thing that I questioned might not happen. But it made sense once they killed him because then he had the whole come back from the dead thing and they tried to give you the scare with that.
But it's kind of funny. They end up killing the kid and he's not saved, but it's that moment where we're both like, but he should have been saved. Like it was so obvious.
Yeah, exactly. There was so much time spent at the door. Like, I can't get it. Can you get it? I can't reach it either. I can't reach it. Can you reach it?
The 9-year-old kid literally was able to push that in with his little strength before the guy got him, and these two can't reach in and just unlock the door.
Yeah.
Actually, the captain was like, unlock the door. He wasn't even trying to reach in.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. So if you do see this, if you decide that you're going to go see it in the theater or you're watching streaming, don't expect a whole lot of creativity or anything new. Expect pretty much of what you've seen before done pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. It's what you've seen 100, 300 times before done pretty well once again. That's what this is.
Yeah.
So it's the best thing I can say about it. That's like the most positive.
Yeah.
It's the most positive thing most positive spin I can put on it is.
Yeah, because it was really done well, and like the effects and everything were really great.
Yeah.
And even there's some jump scares. Don't get me wrong, there are. Like I jumped twice, kind of big. Yeah. But it still was just.
There was a lot. It could have been a lot better. I just feel like there was a lot that could have been done better if you would have spent more time doing that instead of spending a lot of time doing other stuff. It's a 2-hour movie instead of being a 90. Like I talked about a 90-minute movie and spending 20 minutes, telling you, characterizing one damn character. Like, man, 2 hours. They probably spent more than that then with all this.
I know.
It was just so much. Yeah. You don't need it all, man. Again, just like that other fucking movie where it was just like the Death House. So much.
The one that you were the stunt
That other movie that we just reviewed.
What's that movie?
So much needless stuff.
No, nothing comes close to Death House and me. This was not that bad.
Yeah, Death House wasn't 2 hours either, was it?
It felt like it.
I felt like 2 days. I was watching it like, oh.
God, how long did it take you to film it?
We worked on a month, maybe. Probably 3-4 weeks.
What is happening?
All right, well, that's it for our final thoughts. This was a rough one, folks. We had high expectations and they weren't met. It wasn't complete shit, but it was definitely less than what it could have and should have been. So
I would have been fine leaving the movie theater, and I said, "Oh, that was all right. That was fine." But now that we're really breaking it down, I'm like, "Wow, I didn't like it that much." Yeah, I would never watch it again.
Yeah,
And rewatchability makes it a good movie.
Yeah. Once was enough. All right. Well, before we wrap it up, let's just remind you to subscribe, like, follow, comment, shoot us an email, talk about why we're idiots for not liking this movie if you loved it. Agree with us if you spotted some of these same problems that we saw with the writing. And tell us what you want us to see next. Yeah. Another clunker, 2 weeks in a row.
I know. We're something else. What's that movie called we're going to do next?
I forget. I don't know what it is. Hopefully we get a good one sometime soon and we can enjoy again. Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for this episode of Deadsville Horror Talk Fiends. Stay spooky.
Bye, Scream Hearts.